Hello once again, everybody. Getting a little tired here from all the travel lately. We've been to a lot of countries, visiting a lot of Subrosa riders. And today we're in a beautiful forest in France with Subrosa Pro, Joris Coulomb. How you doing, Joris?
Hello, doing good.
Awesome to see you again.
Good to see you, yeah.
So what we did is we hit up our Instagram fans, asked them to ask you a bunch of questions so they can get to know you a little better.
For sure.
All right, so let's give it a start. And this first one comes to us from someone who we both know.
Yeah.
We met him on a Subrosa trip. And this is at Orkin Kilinsil. Now, I'm so sorry I'm butchering your last name, but you know who you are. Does awesome X-up rides downstairs. It's the coolest thing you've ever seen.
Yeah, good inspiration.
Great inspiration. Really young kid. Super creative. And he wants to know, when did you start riding BMX?
I started riding when I was 13. I think it was 2003.
Yeah.
Sure. And I was 13, so like 14 years ago now. I'm 27. And I was skating before that. And then I saw a group of BMX riders coming to where I was skating alone by myself.
Yeah.
So I was skating by myself, and I saw this group of riders just like jumping all over the place. And I was like, whoa, that looks cool. Just the fact that they were together.
Yeah.
And from then on, I just asked my parents for a BMX bike.
Cool.
And started riding like the next year.
Yeah. Were you really into skateboarding?
Oh yeah, I was really loving it. I've been like watching like skateboard videos, playing skate video games like a lot, and skating every day. But that was like pretty much by myself all the time, and I didn't get like that feeling of the crew, the family, so much. And when I saw these people like riding bikes, like this great energy, like the group.
Do you?
It was more attractive.
Now, do you know any of those riders who were in that group, or did?
Actually Nicolas Badet. He was there, and then
that's
started together, and then like a few other good riders I was looking up to.
Yeah.
I kind of stopped riding now, but it was like a pretty big group of people in that small town.
Cool.
Pretty crazy.
Nice. Well, awesome. Thank you, Orkin. Great question. Next one comes to us from Lucas Giernot. And again, I'm sorry about the names, but you'll know who you are. And his question is, who are your top 3 favorite French riders?
It's a good one. I would say Valentino. It's always been great inspiration, doing different stuff, creative, end plans and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Great inverts, great whips, just good style
world.
And always
rider.
Nicolas Badet for sure.
Yeah.
Just his own style. Always been like doing his own thing, trying to be different. So love that. And maybe Ben Gia, that kid that rides south of France. There'll be other ones, but Léo Ballet recently, Arno Wolf. But this guy's a
top 3.
Galkov for sure.
Yeah. There's actually, when you start to name them, there's tons of really good French riders.
And there's new ones like younger now that comes up and really good too.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's a good scene.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's so cool that Nico was one of the first guys who started riding bikes.
Started riding pretty much the same year.
Yeah, on the same team and things like that. That's super cool.
Mary J together.
Oh, Mary J. There's something about that.
Yeah, actually, it's all the people that we started riding together in the same area, and at some point, just Valentino was like, we need to make like a proper crew so we can still ride together instead of just grow separately.
Yeah. And
he made it up and it all created something.
That's cool. Yeah. That's great. All right, next one comes to us from @NateGoodnight, and he wants to know, what was your inspiration for your signature Shadow Maya grips?
So for the Maya grips, it was from I just bought these candles, Oni wax candles, like a wrap, but it's there was the same pattern, but it was like the pattern, the shape that the bees just made themselves, it was natural, nobody made it. It was out of a honeycomb, out of the
honeycomb pattern.
Yeah, it's like the back of the house. They just build it like a wall. They build this, and they just humans just take it off, roll it over a string, and then just make these candles.
Yeah.
So when I bought the candle, I was holding it, and I was like, oh my god, it will be just perfect shape. And it took a while for me to explain the thing to the guys here at Sparky.
Yeah.
It's like through emails it wouldn't work. So I had to like actually buy a candle and bring it here. And
So
when
cool.
I actually brought it here, I was like, oh, okay, now.
Then it was like,
Then
all right,
everything
I
worked
see
out,
it.
yeah.
Oh, that's pretty neat. And
Yeah.
is it like, so when the bees make it, is it like always symmetrical?
Oh, yeah,
like,
perfectly
it's always
symmetrical.
perfect, yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Like even like here on computers, it took a long time to make it, but just
Mhm.
bees just like naturally make it like
Yeah.
perfectly, even better than humans would do. Like, so great.
Neat. That's super cool. Nice. All right, next one is from Vasily Kumpels, and he wants to know, can you backflip?
Well, I don't do it a lot, but yes, I can.
Yeah?
Actually, recently I wanted to do it again because I did it when I was younger
Mhm.
and stopped doing it. But yeah, like I went to some like crazy parks like foam pits and everything.
Yeah.
So I did a couple on the foam pits and then straight to the jump box, and then when I went back to where I live, Montpellier, at the skate park, I
wait,
did
that
the
was
fly
at the
out.
Stride Park on the trip.
Yeah,
Right,
that trip, yeah.
and you did it on the Resi, and
Yeah,
then
and then the
went
Resi,
over
and
to
then
the real box and scared the crap
And then
out
I
of
went-
everybody.
Almost broke my ankle on this
You
one.
went straight
And
up.
straight pumped up like flat.
I forgot about that. Yeah, that is
Yeah.
awesome.
And then when I went back, I did like fly out, just like straight fly out.
Yeah.
Backflip. I like it.
Yeah.
Just, you need to find good like mood and spot. Like,
Yeah. Are you waiting to like throw it in somewhere?
I
on
want
a
to
reel?
put it like somewhere in the street, like if I find the right setup. Like,
Oh,
I
that
almost wanted to do it in
cool.
Paris at the Republic place where they
Mhm.
added this little training thing. Maybe you've seen it. Like everybody rides that.
Uh-huh.
It's like a street spot, but they added like this
Someone
transition.
built like a
Yeah, would have been a good spot, but we didn't get to go there.
Yeah. Ooh, I can't wait for that. That's cool.
That'd be nice.
All right, next one comes to us from fellow Frenchman. He's actually the creative, well, I guess the graphic designer for Shadow at Arnaud Mueller. And he wants to know, shout out Arnaud for the amazing Shadow artwork. He wants to know, how many countries did you travel to this year, and do you have any more planned?
Well, it's probably the hardest question when I looked at him. I was trying to think because it was always like trips after trips after
Yeah,
trips, so I didn't have
that's
time
what-
to like process it, like
Yeah.
to take it in. So I still don't really know what exactly happened, but
Yeah.
I was trying to think, and I think maybe 6 countries,
Wow.
like Netherlands, UK twice, States 4 times, America 4 times, Japan, Spain, yeah, like 5 or 6 countries.
Nice.
And I always only get to go home for like a week and then go back a week.
Yeah, because you kind of got to pack it into the summer almost when the weather is the best in a lot of places.
Well, this year started early because, Estonia, because I went to
Simple
Session like pretty early, and then
That's
there was
another
the-
7.
yeah, and then there was the Shadow trip in Phoenix, and then we went to Los Angeles for the street rail, Game of Rail. So that was pretty early in the year, and then
That's cool. And then any more else for the rest of the year? You think you're going to be hanging out here in France, or?
there was nothing planned, but apparently maybe going back to Hastings
Yeah.
for that source thing. So that would be it. I want to go back to India in December too.
Yeah.
So that would close the end of the year.
Cool.
If I get to get some spare times.
Yeah.
We'll
And
see
you've
about
been to
that.
India before, right?
Yeah.
You went last year?
Last year and 3 years ago too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Next one comes to us from Niels Sanders, and he wants to know, where did you get your spiritual inspiration from?
I would say just from life in general. Just like at first I was not religious at all.
Yeah.
I had this like the same idea everybody has about religion, that it was not really working for anyone. So I was just like taking knowledge from like everything, just from traveling at first.
Yeah.
From like different cultures, different like way of living. And then just the elements, like the sun, when you stare at the sun, the next day like it didn't tell you anything, but the next day you know more. I don't know, all the elements, like all the animals, people, you learn from all that, and at some point you gather so much information that like start to take shape.
Yeah.
And
So is it like you noticed that stuff before but didn't know what it was?
yeah,
or,
exactly. And
or-
it just like was getting more into like a picture, like the picture was getting complete
Yeah.
until the day I went to India for the first time, and I found this book, the Bhagavad Gita, and just as I opened it, just started reading the name of the chapters, I knew like it was the answer of all the questions everybody has been asking forever.
Yeah.
Question I've been asking myself too, and yeah, pretty much all the inspiration was like in this book, like just from India, the way they approach like spirituality, the service, devotional mood.
Cool.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
And so it wasn't that you were against it before,
Mm-hmm.
you weren't interested
Yeah.
or didn't know what was happening.
Yeah,
But
because everybody knows that if there's rules and you don't follow the rules, like it doesn't make you, I don't know, separated. Like it's just like state of consciousness. I don't know.
yeah.
Like everybody's under the same thing, and like we all under the sun. Like we're son of the earth, son of the sun, and like people just choose religion. Like they decide to be Muslim, or they can change next day to be Christian. And I was always thinking like, you didn't change at all while you were changing religion, so it was not a question of religion, God or whatever. Is that there will still remain the same.
It's almost that doesn't change.
That doesn't change,
Yeah.
and that leads me to that kind of religion, but it's above religion. Like it's more like straight spirituality, which is Krishna consciousness. It's even above Hinduism because you can be an Hindu, and the next day you can be like a Muslim. But in the end, you didn't really change. So it's
Right.
like just the external traits. Spirituality is really like inside.
Right.
Mhm.
That's cool. A little bit back to BMX. At Nick Joy 2001, what's your favorite trick to do?
Double tire.
Yeah.
Yeah, recently I've been doing that a lot, and even though I like doing everything, but I go to a spot, I see a rail, I don't even think about hitting my pegs on it, just want to like put my tires on it. It's just the best feeling. It's like I don't know, it's just a weird feeling.
It's the craziest. Like
Yeah.
it's in my opinion, it's gotta be the hardest thing you can do on a rail.
Yeah, probably. It's what I was thinking at first. It's pretty much like 99%. You're not gonna get on the rail.
Yeah.
99% of chance you're gonna miss it. But if you just take that 1% and you just get rid of the 99% of failing and just take that 1% and you can just do it. Like
you try to concentrate
Yeah.
on the 1%.
it really helps on focusing. Like
Yeah.
get rid of all the bad options and just take that one option and just do it. Sometimes it doesn't work, but still, that's
Right.
the work. That's the work.
Right. Because I've seen you at some spots trying a tire ride, and you'll be doing a trick out of the tire ride,
Mhm.
and say you mess up on the trick out, but every time you're hitting the tire ride, and the tire ride's the hardest part. You're just on it. But
Yeah. It's almost like
I
hard
love
to
it.
explain.
Yeah.
Because for example, when you do a manual on a rail, you don't even see your back wheel because you're like standing
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
like that. You look at your front wheel, you're not looking down. So you're on the rail. You don't see that you're on the rail, but somehow you're on the rail. And it's like, I don't know, it's got some magic to it. It's pretty crazy.
That definitely, the manual of the rail has some magic in it for sure. So you think, and on the double tire ride, then you can kind of focus on your front tire a little.
Yeah.
And steer it, or are you still just out in front of you and you're
It's
just
more like
letting
a
it
full,
happen?
yeah, it's really hard to explain. It's like more, you have to think of the trick not from like every aspect, I have to put my front tire, back tire, I have to balance. It's more like the intention. If you really want to do it and you're really like convinced,
Yeah.
then you just happen like naturally.
You just do
your
it
body
all
just
in one
actually
motion.
your body follows your mind. So if your mind is like waiting for your body to be in a good place, then you're always failing.
Mhm.
But if your mind is just gone, like I want to do like a manual switch whip on the rail, your mind wants to do it, your body is gonna follow.
Mm-hmm.
If your mind is really strongly thinking about the trick, your body's gonna follow. And most people, and I used to do it, like trying to adjust, like should I be more on the right? Should I be more on the left? That doesn't even really help.
Yeah.
It's really how you visualize the trick, and if you visualize it perfectly, your body follows in mind.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, you almost treat it in a spiritual way.
Yeah.
Almost. Yeah.
I figured later when I learned about what yoga was, that BMX like helped me doing all the same exercise, like because yoga is like using the mind to control the body and all that kind of stuff, tolerating pain. I mean it was just the same thing, but nobody, like my parents were not into that spiritual or yoga
No.
lifestyle,
No.
not at all, and most of like us like riding bikes neither. So we found this way of like practicing on our own. Like just like you felt like it was just a game, but it was actually like really profound practice. Like
Cool.
Yeah.
So it's almost another way that you apply your spirituality into your daily life.
Exactly.
Yeah. Cool. Next one comes to us from @TurnerWay14, and he says, I see you're passionate about Krishna. How do you think she has helped you in BMX?
Mm-hmm.
Which is a little bit what we were just talking about, but...
First of all, Krishna is a man. He's not she, he's a he. He has a girlfriend, he has a wife, which is the she. But it's like, I think Krishna gave me BMX. It's not like he helps me in BMX. He gave me BMX so I could do this practice, like this yoga kind of, like to control myself, like tolerate pain, go through pain, get rid of karma, because when you do activity, it creates karma, and when you suffer, then you get rid of your bad karma. Like if you punch someone, it's gonna punch you back, and then that's like stabilized.
You're
like,
even
like,
again.
Even, yeah. So when you suffer like pain or you go through bad moments in life, you actually get rid of bad karma. That's why you have to let it happen. Like you don't want to fight against like being in trouble, being in pain. Like if it has to happen, you have to like tolerate it and know it's for the good. You get rid of like something that you did. And yeah, I really feel like Krishna or the universe gave me this lifestyle so I could like spend time to read, because now I have my own. I don't have to work like from this hour to this hour, so I have like a lot of free time to like learn about this kind of stuff. So
even though you weren't as spiritual when you started riding bikes, you're finding out now that it was that happening in the past. You just didn't know what it was. And when you kind of talk about the yoga aspect of it, you're not talking about maybe what we consider yoga as like stretching and hot girls and yoga pants. It's more of everything you do is almost yoga.
Exactly, yeah.
Because it's like it's your mind, body, and spirit, and it's anything that you're doing.
Yeah.
That's super
neat. Actually, most people say, I need to stretch. I need to find time stretching, but I don't really do it. Like people say, oh, that's really cool. You're into yoga. I started it. I do practice from this hour, like this amount of time.
I can touch my toes.
Yeah, how much do you practice? I'm like, actually, I don't really practice anything, but it's pretty much like everything I do. Like when I take a shower, it's like always like some sort of stretching. Or if I have to pick up something on the ground, I just do it a certain way where I straighten my leg and my back. It's like pretty much all day. Like,
right, and then yoga is also stretching your mind. And your bike allows you to stretch your mind.
Yeah, exactly.
It's neat. This is a pretty cool question. This comes to us from @MartyCopa, who some of you may not know, amazing flatlander. So shout outs to Marty for participating in the question. And he wants to know, what does balance mean to you?
It's also a good one to be speaking about it a while.
Yeah.
To me, it's like being at the center of yourself at any moment, even though you're in bad situation. Like you can be right, left, hot weather, cold weather, rich, poor, but it's only temporary. Actually you didn't really move from the original position. You can get poor, get rich, but all that is temporary. And when you balance, you know yourself not to be the body, and you know yourself to be the soul that's inside the body. Then you find yourself, you know that you are the soul, not the body, and actually then you are in balance. If it's hot, you tolerate it instead of being like, oh, it's too hot, like blah, 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 trying to fix it. And the next day it's cold, and people are, oh, it's cold now, I'm trying to fix it again. But in the end, it's teaching your mind how to be in balance.
Or even more so, one day you could have a bad session, the next day you could have a really good session.
For sure.
Try to stay in that middle ground and not do the bad ones.
And tolerate it, see from further, and just like, okay, just tolerate it.
Next one comes to us from @FlockaFrank, and he wants to know, how long have you been growing your hair?
About 5 years.
5
years. I didn't make the dreads. Many people asked me how I did it. I never really wanted to have dreads. Just had long hair. Some dreads started to happen.
And when you got on Subrosa, you just had long hair,
instant,
right? Yeah, I remember.
And then they started to come from the back. I just brush it, but it was like coming back. So I was like, wow, I'm kind of trying to stop something that naturally wants to happen. So I just like wait and see. So I just like kind of like brush my hair with my hands, just no like real brush. But just take care of my hair the same way everybody does, pretty much. It's just like over time, it's pretty crazy actually. I just like observe it from like if it was not mine. It's like I observe it like. See,
it's doing what it wants.
Yeah, it just changes it every day. Every day is changing. Some of them just fall away. New ones come. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, that was the last one.
Yeah.
That was great. I think that was like. I think the people are going to learn a lot about you. I think you had some of the best questions from the fans.
That's pretty cool.
And thanks for having me here in this awesome forest.
Thank you.
And thanks for you guys for participating with all your awesome questions. And that's going to wrap it up for this series. So hopefully we'll get some more Subrosa riders in here and you'll learn about all of us.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I hope you learned a lot about Joris Coulomb because I certainly did. Tune in next time as I sit down with the newest pro rider on the Subrosa team, none other than Trey Jones. So start thinking about questions and follow our Instagram at Subrosa Brand for your chance to have your question asked live on Ask Subrosa. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.